right, so I'm Ryan.
I'm Will.
And today on the Walnut Desk podcast, we're going to talk about pets.
Pets.
They're defined as a domestic or tamed animal kept for companionship or pleasure.
Okay.
Which opens the door to all kinds of weirdness.
It does. Pleasure pet.
A pleasure pet, that's my role in bed.
I did not know this podcast was going this direction.
No, we did not.
Welcome to the Walnut Desk podcast.
All right, so types of pets. Let's just run down the list, normal pets. We'll get into weird ones later, but typically, people have cats.
Yep.
People have dogs.
I'm interested that you said cats first.
I know.
I'm getting the idea that you're a cat person.
I'm not, though. I like cats fine,
yeah,
but they're not I'm a dog person.
All right.
Really. And dogs and cats are the most domesticated animals, right?
That's true.
And then we've got our birds. And then it kind of forks off into people who have spiders as pets, which is weird but not that uncommon, right? And people have snakes as pets.
Yeah, and as you listed these, I think the order of maintenance, it's in decreasing order of maintenance, right? With
Lizards.
the exception of dog coming before cat, because they need to be tended to.
Yeah, dogs require a lot more attention.
Yeah, but then you get to cats, and then you get to birds, which I imagine are less intense than cats. I wouldn't know. But then your list in your head, you went to let's go to snakes. You feed them once a week. Let's go to spiders. They just kind of exist off the air. Right?
No, you drop shit in there. You drop little insects in there, and they.
Yes. I don't understand
Chomp
that.
them up.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Well, also, I think you're missing the rodents as well.
True. Yeah.
People keep mice. People keep
I've had a
guinea
mouse.
pigs.
Yeah.
You've had a mouse?
I've had a guinea pig.
Did you name your mouse, or was it too...
I had
such a fleeting animal to have that you're I'm not even going to waste the name on this because I know it's just going to die.
Well,
it's a hamster.
I had a series of them, as your sort of tone is predicting. They weren't long-term pets, right? So the first mouse that I had, I called Pinky.
That's a good name.
Pinky in the brain, right? And it started chewing on its own tail. And it was depressed.
Yeah.
And so I actually brought it back. Because I bought it at a pet store where you're supposed to buy it to be snake food, right?
Right.
And I was I'm going to save this little Pinky. And I saved it, and it was super depressed. The thing just wanted to be eaten by a snake.
I had one purpose.
Yeah.
And you're preventing me from reaching my goal.
But this is... Okay, so that's an interesting thing that I want to talk about as we go is when we domesticate something and take it in as a pet, we're applying our logic and ethos to how its life should be lived, and we're projecting on it what its happiness looks like. When it makes us happy, it must be happiest, right? So I don't know. I feel it gets complicated, and we'll unpack that as we go.
Yeah, and there's also varying degrees of that. I mean, I don't know if a spider is capable of joy.
Right, we can't know.
Yeah, so we went down the mouse hole, and the rabbit hole. I've had a rabbit also.
Oh yeah.
And rabbits I think they're underrated pets.
Hell yeah.
They hop all over the place, man.
Yeah, your rabbit's super cute.
Do you remember the time when my rabbit pissed on Hannah's leg?
Yeah. Yes.
So
that's super cute, by the way.
It was the day. It was the day you guys arrived. You were coming to crash at my place for a little while. The rabbit was a free-range rabbit. It was a cage-free rabbit. Pure joy. Yep. And it felt so confident in its territory that it decided to mark the new house guest.
People. Yeah. Mine.
Yeah.
It was a show of affection, really.
I think it's actually a show of aggression if you were to go into the research. But
that's a funny thing that happens with pets is they do show aggression. They do claim territory. Cats. My mom and stepdad, they have always had cats.
Right?
Yeah. And right now, their cat situation is they have these siblings who all came out of this one litter, and they're fucking insane. They are not normal cats. They're huge, first of all. They're 1.5 times the size of a normal cat, right? Huh. So, and then also they're mean to each other. So they'll get into a room and they're so territorial that if one of them's going for food and the other one happens to be hungry at the same time, they'll just sit on the floor in this poof pile and stare at each other and make these noises really deep animal noises. Like, they're pissed at each other.
Yeah, but wouldn't they like actually come to blows at that point, or are they just
Eventually.
is it kind of like one-upsmanship?
Sometimes they do. They've sort of like figured out their own system. Semi-recently, my younger brother Josh had a cat that was like a normal cat, like a good cat that would make a good pet, unlike these cats, these sibling cats my family has. Brings it in and it's totally attacked by the other cats, ostracized, terrified to like go eat or drink.
They put it right in its place.
Oh yeah.
As soon
And
as
its
it came
place is
in,
the
they were
bottom.
like, "We heard you were a good boy."
You seem normal. It's like taking like people who are like, you know, really aggressive and sticking like a small child in the room.
So it's like high school.
Yeah, it's like high school. That's how I felt
The
in high
meanest,
school.
the meanest rise to the top.
Totally.
So yeah, there's all kinds of pets. I'm sure there's some like weirder pets too.
Yep, there are strange pets. There are legal and illegal strange pets. So like some of the weirdest legal pets that I was
Can
finding.
we just talk about first of all like what, why,
Why what? Why pets?
like why legal, why illegal? Like,
Right.
if you have enough space, PETA's gonna be on us for this one, but like I don't really see why you can't keep a tiger if you got the space. Like, I don't think the legality should be around what animal do you have. It should be around what are the requirements in order to keep said animal from interrupting society.
All right. Okay. So well, that makes me think about James Buchanan. Okay. So he was gifted as president.
Yeah.
A bunch of presidents were
I was gonna say, is this some celebrity that I don't know, or is this the president? Right now?
And
You never know.
And he was gifted by the king of Siam a herd of elephants.
A herd.
A herd.
What classifies a herd?
I don't know. I couldn't find the number. But
Is it one of those like 3 or more? It's like
maybe
like a murder of crows if you have 3 of them.
It's probably 3 or more, but or at least like a family or a couple families. I don't know, but he was gifted them, and previous presidents weren't allowed to keep certain animals, like big cats. Some of them weren't allowed to keep when they were gifted them. They had to give them to zoos and stuff. But he was allowed to keep
His elephant.
his elephants
At the White House.
At the White House.
No.
Yeah.
Is there?
That's what the internet tells me.
Okay.
I mean, like everything else on this show, I don't really care whether it's false or true.
It's just, that's interesting.
Our information source is the internet.
Yeah, that's an interesting visual. I just like imagine there's like an important meeting happening at the Oval Office. The president sitting at his desk, like about to sign something into law, and just like in the background, slowly, from where is that? The Rose Garden? Is that what's outside? Just
Probably.
an elephant walks right on through.
Yeah, just hanging out.
And just passes on by. And his back is to it, right? Because there's a
Yeah.
window behind him. And all the people who are watching him sign this law are like, what? Like, what is happening right now? There's
They're like,
an elephant
damn.
walking by.
President's got some weird pets.
I heard of elephants. So would that be legal? If I had space, could I keep elephants? Do you know about that?
I don't think you could.
Because I'm not the
Because
president.
you're not the president. I feel like, okay, so I come up on the other side of this argument, though. I kind of feel like we shouldn't have domesticated any animals.
Okay.
Like, I'm on that line of thinking.
All right.
But I'm not, like,
It's not like we had a choice.
against you owning a cat.
Right.
Or a bunny or whatever, in the sense that, like, I just don't think it should happen. Like, I feel like there was probably a time when it was useful to have a dog or a cat, like, to let you know when somebody's coming into your, cabin or whatever, but I don't think that use is all that relevant. Sometimes dogs actually are good for deterring crime, but I don't know. I think that domesticating them is generally cruel because we're putting them in our cultural system rather than letting them exist in their own.
I totally disagree.
I know.
Like rights?
Yeah, rights.
Is this a rights issue?
Yeah,
Oh my
rights.
God.
Animal rights. I'm all for it.
Like, if you can't see me right now, listeners, I know you can't. Biggest eye roll that I've ever had to make during this Walnut Desk podcast. Hey, PETA, come get me. I don't give a fuck about animal rights. Don't abuse them, but domesticate
Well, that's
them.
where it starts.
Domesticate them at will.
Okay.
I don't think that that's abuse.
But here's what we can do. Let's figure out the line.
Okay.
Because, all right, so I own a dog, right?
Okay.
Say
Is ownership the line?
No. Say
This
I own
poor dog.
I own a dog,
his
right?
freedoms are being limited by you owning him.
As my dog, I can feed it or not feed it. I can treat it well or treat it poorly. Just a human owning a dog does not imply good behavior.
I guess I might start to come around a little bit on your point of like there are just some terrible people in the world.
There are.
That like should not be in charge of like making sure an animal is content. I understand that.
Or making them fight to the death. This happens. People get in trouble for that.
People, yeah.
That's a real thing. Dog
Quarterbacks
fights
get in trouble for that.
Yeah, they do.
No, you know what? You're starting to. I think I had a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to that because now I'm thinking about like factory farming and like okay, like there are some unhappy animals in some shitty conditions.
Puppy farms,
and for some reason that's legal,
right?
Right, but you can't keep an elephant because you might not have enough space. But like the food that we eat every day out of necessity is made by like, chickens that basically don't need legs because they can't walk around.
Right. Well, that's different than pets, but it's still farming animals, which there are breeding. I
mean, they're still domesticated. Situations. If we get back to like the root of the like prompt to this little digression here,
they are. So
you don't think we shouldn't have domesticated anything, even though it was an accident that dogs were domesticated?
I know it's not that I don't think we should have.
Okay.
I just think at this point we could start making different decisions.
We could stop.
But there's such a cult of like internet pets.
Yeah. Ooh,
right?
Yeah, like the lol cat.
Yeah.
And the long cat.
Yeah.
And the I has cheeseburger cat. Remember him?
Adorable animals, all of them.
And the cat that has a Pop-Tart for a body.
I've never seen that.
And he flies.
I've never seen that.
It's obnoxious, and it's on a loop, I think. I think it's one of those Flash websites.
Oh, okay.
Remember those that would loop like the
Homestar.
The hamster dance?
Yeah.
Yeah, people they pick pets, and then they make them do outlandish things on the internet. I think that's what we should ban.
Is that cruel?
You shouldn't be allowed to make your cartoon pet do obnoxious things on loops on the internet.
You mean as a cartoon, you can't manipulate the visual of the cat?
I'm an animal rights activist. I don't think that we should be doing that. That's wrong.
But so like what it does when we have like a large reward system for posting a cute image of a pet, not only do you find it cute, therefore you post it, it like feels to me that people think they have a right to indulge in their feeling of finding a cat cute regardless of the cat's well-being. Like, so that's where I feel like the domestication problem, we could be making better decisions now. Like we could not domesticate, say, like, so illegal pets, let's get in there, the slow loris.
Is illegal?
It's illegal to have a slow loris.
I can't have my very own slow Loris Tyrell.
You can't dress him up like Loris Tyrell on Halloween, unfortunately. That's what I would do with one. But you can't have one.
You've brought that up on multiple occasions. So whenever the slow Loris comes up, I'm starting to see something.
Uh-huh.
And for our loyal listeners, I'm about to call Ryan out on something that you might recall from a previous episode. Based on the last 2 weeks of conversations that we've had, I'm starting to doubt that the dolphin is actually your favorite animal.
What do you think is actually my favorite animal? I think
it's actually the slow loris.
No, I think maybe the slow loris Tyrell is my favorite animal.
Okay. I'm on to you, Ryan. I think you're trying to deceive us. Listeners, if you hear Ryan give any more hints that dolphins are not his favorite animal, you need to pick up on that and let us know via Twitter.
There is no conspiracy here.
So the slow loris is illegal.
Yeah, among others.
Why?
Big cats.
Why?
Because
it's not even that big. Is it aggressive?
Okay, so I was trying to
sounds too slow to be aggressive.
Out why certain animals are illegal and other ones are legal, because once you start looking at the lists, it's really weird. Like, keeping a skunk is legal, keeping a slow loris is not, keeping a hedgehog is legal, keeping a marmoset is not. Why?
What is a marmoset?
Is it like
a capybara?
Yeah, capybara are also on the list of legal.
Capybara
you can keep legal. A capybara.
Listeners, if you have not seen a capybara and you're not consuming this podcast on YouTube, where we will provide you a photo of a capybara, just take a minute, pull over, Google it.
Mm-hmm.
They're some of the ugliest animals I've ever seen.
They are pretty gross.
It's like in all those cartoons where you have that like green goop liquid, and you drop one on something small, and it becomes this like hideous monstrosity, like at 10 times the size.
Yeah,
it's like you do that to a naked mouse that you would get at the pet store and have it chew its tail off, and it just becomes a capybara.
Pinky, no.
And it probably behaves exactly the same. It doesn't know how big it is. It's gross. Yeah, I guess I have some like strong negative feelings about certain animals.
Yeah, what other animals?
I'm gonna work through this.
What other animals do you have like a strong disdain for, and why?
Well, let me get into this because I want our listeners to weigh in on this, and I also want to hear your opinion. We've talked about it a little bit. The lobster. You wouldn't keep a pet lobster, but, and I'm gonna go out. I'm off on a tangent here, but I'm gonna keep on going with it. The lobster is not a fish.
No.
Or like it's
crustacean.
It's a crustacean of sorts,
it's an invertebrate.
Right? An arthropod, I believe.
Yeah.
So, if lobster is so delicious, what is the closest land arthropod?
Okay.
Can we boil it, and will it be poor man's lobster? Which I know lobster used to be poor man's lobster, and now it's rich man's lobster.
Right.
Can we create the second wave of lobster tasting, shrimp tasting food by discovering which roach or spider or whatever will boil up
and
like
make
me like spider
meat?
Salad, a spider roll,
right?
Which is not sushi anymore. It's literally spider on a hot dog bun.
I really don't know if there would be a comparable animal that we could find that would have the same taste, but maybe.
I think that's my first million.
That's how Will is going to make his millions.
My first million is going to be that.
The poor man's lobster.
The poor man's lobster. You heard
Which
it here
is going to
first
be a cockroach.
on the Walnut Desk podcast. It's probably most likely a cockroach.
Right.
But hey, at the end of the world, at least you can make a cockroach roll.
So you said that you don't keep lobsters as pets.
I don't.
And this.
Are we going to go David Foster Wallace right now?
No. We're actually going to go Gerard.
Are we going to consider the pet lobster?
So Gerard Danerval is this writer. It's not really possible for him to have kept a pet lobster, apparently. I've been trying to read about whether this is true. But the lore, which is what I'm interested in, is that he had a pet lobster and that he would walk it around the park on a silk string in the afternoon. He would take his little lobster for a walk and then take it home to its tank.
Like, why wouldn't you bring it to the beach instead of the park? Right. It's a fucking lobster.
Right.
That, man, you know what it should be? I think all pets should be legal. And you need to earn the right to keep a pet.
Okay.
Like, you have to take a test. You need, like, a mental health evaluation. You need to pass a series of background checks. It should be harder to get a pet than to get a gun. I don't really believe that, but I think that might be the solution.
That might be a way.
So let me elaborate on why I feel that way. And it's not, obviously it's all half-baked. I'm just getting to this idea now, but like an example to illustrate that would be why. So I had a cat. When I first moved to California, the apartment that I moved into came with a cat.
Cool.
The girl who was the cat's owner, this is all a story. I don't know how much of it is like, lost in translation between like a series of people that heard the story. But the lore has it of this house with many, many, many generations of tenants. It's like 6 rooms, so people were in and out all the time.
Yep.
Was that the girl who owned the cat met a dude on Craigslist, left all of her stuff in the apartment and up and moved to Ohio.
Okay.
And when I say stuff, that includes her cat.
Armand.
And I'm also at the point where I don't even know if that was the cat's name or if that was lost in translation as well. But that's what I heard it was, and that's what I called it for forever.
Yeah.
So this girl shows up. I lived in this house for like 3 years at this point. I had been taking care of the cat. Not super great care of the cat. It was kind of like cat by committee, but I was the lead.
Okay.
And this girl comes back and asks for her cat back.
No.
And I'm like, you in my mind, and this is just going to seem like I think I'm all important, but you in my mind do not have a pet ownership permit anymore.
Right, it's
your
3
pet
years.
card has been revoked.
It's past the time.
You've given up all right to this cat. And it was a beautiful cat. It was old. It was ugly, but like beautiful in a sense that like it was like a fancy cat.
I met this cat. I slept next to its litter box.
That was. Sorry about that.
No, it's good.
I know it wasn't clean.
It was a good cat.
Yeah,
Weird,
he was a
cool
cat.
cat.
He would come like on command, like he would say his name and he would run from across the house to me. So he was like cool, and I could tell he liked me, and I could tell he obviously couldn't give two shits about the girl who abandoned him.
Right.
I don't think she should be allowed to own pets. If you're gonna do that, you can't just abandon it and then expect to claim it back like it's a library book that was like underneath a pile of papers on your table, and you're like 3 years later I'm cleaning, like, oh, I should go return this to like the library to its rightful owner. Like
right.
That's one thing. This is a cat. It's now mine. I think. What do you think about that?
I feel like, okay, so when you were talking about the need to be certified to have a pet, I feel like this is like a case in point for that argument.
I feel like you're going down a road where you're going to question my
No.
qualifications.
No, it's actually the opposite.
Where it's going to be like, okay, so like, Will, I know that you think you're awesome and she shouldn't have a pet, but neither should you, and here's why.
Well, maybe neither should you, but I wasn't going to take the logic that far. I was going to go to she, as somebody who abandoned her pet for 3 years expecting that the house would take care of it, which fuck that.
This isn't like House of Leaves.
Revokes her ability to have a pet. I mean, like, it's not fair that she should be able to come back and just claim the pet. It's like you put a child up for adoption, you don't come back in 3 years and get the fucking kid back, right?
Yeah, that's absurd. So you're on Team Will here. I did the right thing to say, like, I don't know if you get this cat back.
All right, but so you said something that I really am curious about and have been every time this comes up in conversation. It comes up all the time. When you were describing the ownership of the cat situation, you said you could tell that the cat had warm feelings about you and didn't have those same feelings about its previous owner. But
I did not know that.
But what is
also? I never watched that cat interact with.
No, that's what I'm saying. No. But like, okay, but it's a common thing to say. I'm sitting there staring at this cat. There's a cat at my current apartment complex called Franklin.
I love Franklin.
Female cat named Franklin. It's really cool.
It's a girl?
It just hangs out on, it's a girl. It hangs out on this rock in the sun, just lounges out, and whenever you walk past, you have to like walk by it in order to get in and out of the apartment. It comes up and wants you to pet it. And it's unique in that it will lay on its back for you to pet its stomach as a cat, which is kind of cool.
Cats usually don't show that level of vulnerability unless they've been walked past hundreds of times a day and never been victimized by a human.
But so when the cat's laying there, either I or Hannah sometimes will see it and be like, oh, it looks sad today. Or, oh, it's like looking really happy in the sun today. But what is this need for humans to like be able to describe the emotional place of another animal? And how do we get to take ownership over their feelings in such a way?
So first thing I want to say is when Hannah says the cat looks sad, you should be extra nice to her that day.
I know. But we're all probably projecting. We're all projecting on animals.
True. That's true.
Right? Yeah. So like rounding back to the domestication question, do we keep them because we need them to validate us in some way? And is that inherently cruel because we're converting them from a living animal into currency for our emotional well-being? Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have a comment on whether or not that's fair.
We do it with people.
But that sounds right.
We do it with other people, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But people have the choice to like get the fuck away from you.
Exactly. And that cat depends on you for food.
Yeah.
And if you die, it will eat you, and you got to wonder why.
Well, will they all eat you?
I think so.
I know your cat will eat you.
Yeah. Dogs won't.
Your birds will probably eat you if they can get out.
Probably.
Like end of world scenario.
Oh, yeah.
The zombie uprising. I think the dog's the only thing that's got your back.
And I wonder how long that lasts. I wonder if there's a threshold.
Where the dog's
if eventually the dog's like, fuck it. Or if at that threshold, like the dog's problem is that you've started to rot and it can't eat you by the time it's rationalized that it's willing to eat you.
Well, you just end up getting the dog really sick.
Do you kill your dog?
With your decaying body.
And the dog is dying and it's like, fuck, I ate my human. I deserve this.
The inner monologue of dogs. It reminds me of that episode
it's the same problem.
That episode of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Where Snuffles becomes like this overlord.
Snuffletron, whatever it is.
Yeah. They got these big exoskeletons almost that
mechanical.
Which is funny. I think
like
the
mechs.
funniest detail in that show is awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's really like a smart cartoon.
It's extremely funny.
And I think the best detail of that whole episode has nothing to do with the pet becoming sentient and destroying all of humankind. It's the fact that this mech that it's riding around in has legs that are angled the same way that a dog's rear leg would be.
Okay.
So it goes backwards. You know, it has the backwards kneecap, and I thought that was a really nice touch. I was like, that's funny that they didn't like make it
like human
legs.
like yeah, that is pretty funny.
So yeah, they rise up and would eat the family if they could.
If they could be, if they had the intelligence, right? So they would dominate us if we could, but we're dominating them instead, and we get to keep them.
Do you ever wonder if animals were in civilization?
Like in a talking animal situation?
Yeah. Are there movies that treat that?
I'm sure there are. Children's movies in the past 10 years that I haven't seen. But yeah, okay, so let's follow this logic.
But I
Where
mean,
are you
like, what would a cat city look like?
Oh, okay.
How would cats choose to construct their town?
How would a cat, like what would urban development look like with cats or dogs, and what would be the difference?
I feel like lots of alleys.
Lots of alleys. Mostly fish production, right? There'd be fishing towns, right? For cats.
I don't think the fish would ever make it to market.
No, they might not make it to market. They'd be fiending. What if the cat village was just like cats fiending over like these fish that they catch?
Because, I mean, my experience with Armand was like, if you had anything remotely fish, he would find you from the backyard and be there in a second.
Totally.
The real fish food is the best food for the cats.
They do love it.
So we were talking about should the pets be illegal or should the owners be illegal?
Okay, yeah, that's one way to frame it.
Yeah.
So should domesticated ownership be strictly, monitored, or what? Is that your solution?
I like that idea in theory, but then in practice, I'm like not the kind of person who would want to pass a law that says you got to take a test to have a pet.
No, it seems kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like you have to take a test to have a child.
That should, I mean, Idiocracy taught us that.
Are you referencing the movie or are you referencing the current political climate?
I don't even know anymore.
Sorry to get political. So one other thing that I want to talk about in relation to the central pet conversation is animals who become feral, right? So it's a domesticated animal.
So when these people who don't have pet licenses
returns to the wild,
go to Ohio,
right,
and never come back,
and just let it go.
Yeah,
just let the pet go. And then there are these communities of like pets or animals that were pets that are trying to survive. Like when I went to Costa Rica for a month, and I was hanging out in this village. We'd go downtown, and there would just be all these stray dogs, like tons of them. And along the beach, stray dogs, and they'd be after your food. One time, somebody in our family fed one, and it followed us home, and we were trying to get rid of it, and we couldn't, and it was dark, and we were staying in the jungle in Costa Rica. And
right, and there's no doors, right?
This is the Caribbean side. Yeah, there was no doors.
So the dog's just in your space now.
We're a mile away from the beach in the middle of the jungle, and there's just a dog, like a wild dog, trying to get into our house. So feral animals, we create the problem and we don't provide the need. So simultaneous to my desire to get rid of the idea of domestication, we need to care for all the animals who are currently domesticated and who are being neglected, which takes a lot of resources.
A wise game show host once said, "Ladies and gentlemen, have a great afternoon and don't forget to spay and neuter your pets." Mm-hmm. And I think that's important.
Yeah. I think that is important.
So don't forget to spay and neuter your pets.
Spay and neuter your pets.
My feral animal story is similar. I was leading a trip. So I had 14 kids with me, two co-counselors, two other co-counselors. We were hiking down into the Havasupai village in the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
So this is a 10-mile hike down to a waterfall. There's a Native American village there, and it's a long hike. The way they get their mail is on donkey. Like the U.S. mail drives down this super long access road, and then they ride down into the canyon on a donkey.
It's amazing.
It might be a mule, but it's it's like I think it's one of the only places that has their mail delivered that way.
Okay.
Anyway, as you walk, there's a parking lot, and you hike down a bunch of switchbacks into the canyon, and then you hike about 8 miles in the canyon to get to the village, and then an extra 2 miles to get down to the waterfall in the campground.
Right.
And there are feral dogs that will follow groups like my group from the start back home.
Whoa.
So they walk 10 miles a day. They'll wake up at the ass crack of dawn, because when you have to hike there, it gets so hot at noon that you have to leave early. So you depart the village at dark, like when it's dark out, and eventually the sun rises at the end of your hike. Same thing when you're leaving from the top. So these dogs would follow you, and they followed our group because one of my campers decided it was a good idea to throw some trail mix to the dog.
Oh yeah.
But this dog didn't leave us alone for the full week. It was it came to our campsite. But they're not even feral. And I wonder if this is a similar situation to Costa Rica, is that they just have a different mindset about pet ownership. They're community pets. Someone gets a dog, but it's not that person's dog. It's a dog that is now part of the community. And everybody cares for it. Everybody feeds it a little bit. It doesn't sleep in one place per se. It doesn't even necessarily go inside the buildings. It just, it's there. It exists as an outdoor animal.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know that in Costa Rica it was that, so the people who owned, there were 3 houses on this property we stayed on. And it was actually really interesting. There was this couple, they had moved from like somewhere in the U.S. there and like wanted to start a farm. So they bought this land and moved to Costa Rica and tried to clear it. And they had a hard time clearing it. And they were both able to do woodworking. So they just cut down the trees in order to clear it for their farm. They ran into some snags and just built houses out of the trees that they had cut down. Like they tempered the wood and everything and built these houses themselves, and then they rented out the houses.
Right.
But that family kept their own dogs. So there were domesticated dogs that were theirs, and it was to keep people out of their property.
Guard
dogs. And so that existed. So that kind of domesticated dog ownership existed there. Yeah, I don't know.
Except you just throw it a little food and it'll follow you around the whole time. It's not a very good guard dog.
Well, no, those guard dogs stayed with them. They were like very loyal. The one that came into the property, those guard dogs fucking hated and eventually, probably left because of them.
Right.
One of the questions is like, is it cool because they're returning to a wild-like state? Is like the feral domesticated animal like the acceptable way to treat like animals moving out of domestication? Like dogs becoming...
Maybe. I just have a hard time believing that like a Bichon could go back into the wild and be successful.
No, definitely not. But some cats... Okay, so I had this cat.
Cats can do it.
When I was young.
For sure.
Called Meow Meow.
Okay.
Never let a 5-year-old name a cat. One of my little brothers named it, I think. Or... We all named it by commit. I don't remember. But Meow Meow was
put some names in a bag.
Badass cat.
P-O-Ns.
It was a huge badass cat, and it was like really puffy. And we, as it got older, it became very. So it got older as these insane cats I described earlier sort of came of age, and like kept them all in their place. So it was like the master cat, Meow Meow. And also we realized that it was going out at night and like hunting or whatever. And it would get in fights, we think, with coyotes. Because it would come back with these giant puncture wounds in its side or whatever.
Yikes.
From like fights with coyotes.
Yeah.
That it survived.
Yeah.
So good job. But like we would have to like leave the wounds open. Because we had to treat them with medicine, like antibiotics or whatever. And then, but so that cat was like really badass. And I feel like cats can like reintegrate into some sort of wild-like state.
Oh, cats can hang. I still think Armand is out there somewhere.
Really?
Well, he like just left one day and never came back.
Shit. Okay.
Usually I think that means they got taken by something.
Adopted. Yeah. Totally.
But also it's like if a cat leaves in that way, they say if you find the body that it just died. But if you don't find the body, it got taken by a bigger animal and like brought to a nest or something somewhere. I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is, but I know that like coyotes and whatever will come at your cats.
They will.
Meow Meow, but Meow Meow can hang. I wonder how many coyotes Meow Meow took down in its day, or at least like
I don't know.
put on its heels.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably a lot because there were tons of them behind our house.
I'm trying to think if I ever met Meow Meow.
You did. You definitely did. It's big, puffy black cat.
It's just like outside all the time, right?
Yeah. So I got an idea. Let's look at some of these weirdest legal pets, like images of them, and let's decide what's the cutest one. Like, what's the one we would want the most out of the weird pets?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All
right. So, sugar glider is number 1 on the list of legal in some states weird pet.
Is that a bat?
It is a nocturnal gliding possum.
That's weird looking.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a raccoon with a chihuahua face.
A tiny one. It's like the size of a large like gerbil. It's not even as big as like a hamster would be. Look at it in the hand.
Oh wow. Yeah, it weighs 4.3 ounces when it's an adult.
It's fucking tiny.
Now, why are they illegal? Do we know?
No, they are legal.
Oh, they are legal.
Yeah. This is a weird legal pet. It's not in all states. I think in some states it is not legal to have.
I'm currently researching the sugar glider on a website called pocketpets.org.
Where did they come from?
They're marsupials.
Okay, cool.
So they're in the same family as a kangaroo or a koala.
They got huge eyes.
Yeah. And I think the bigger the eyes, I think anime did this to society. But the bigger the eyes, the cuter the thing, right?
No, humans we have like a care response to small things with large eyes because like we were supposed to take care of babies. So there's like a survival mechanism in being, emotionally attracted to large eyes in small animals. That was an adorable floppy-eared rabbit.
This is the giant rabbit that United Airlines killed.
No.
Shortly after they dragged that guy off the plane. It was a bad press week for them. They killed the offspring of a giant rabbit. And the giant rabbit
whoa, that's huge.
I don't have the exact information, but I recall it. Oh, here it is. So the father's name is Darius. And Darius was 4'4".
Jesus. What do you do with a rabbit like that?
I think you watch it.
Very fucking carefully.
That rabbit would take up the entire bed portion of my sectional.
Right.
Like it would lay down and no one else would be able to sit on that part of the couch.
It's bigger than like a dog I would want.
Yeah. Way bigger.
Way bigger.
By the way, look at its eye.
It's kind of terrifying, actually.
It shouldn't be that big.
It looks like, you look at whales, and it just looks like they look like they have this, this knowing I'm big and I will fuck you up attitude. It looks like it has that attitude. It looks like, don't fucking touch me today.
I've been kicked by a rabbit.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't feel good.
I'm sure.
From like a 8-inch rabbit.
And from a fucking 4-foot rabbit?
4'4".
Jeez. Painful. It's like a punch to the gut. All right, so United.
So this is legal.
United killed a giant rabbit.
Of course they did.
How big was the one that they killed? It was an offspring of a giant one. Okay. Oh, it was a baby.
So it was. I mean, I guess it wasn't like a baby. But you can't really tell with a 4'4" rabbit from looking at this picture. It looks like a normal rabbit.
It does look like a normal rabbit.
But you don't know how big it's going to be. And you don't know how old it is because it might just come out bigger.
That's true.
Yeah, so we were talking about legal pets.
Weird pets.
Yeah,
so the sugar glider, do you like it? Is that something you would get?
Yeah,
you keep one in your apartment?
I feel like it's a pain. I think there's a threshold. Certain pets need to be a certain size.
They look like they'd be squeaky.
Before I care about them.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so let's go down the list. Skunks.
No. If you
They're pettable.
You degland them?
You can degland them, which seems super fucking cruel.
They seem clawy.
They're supposed to be super, have a good temperament.
Huh.
I don't know.
Who knows? I wasn't really open to a rabbit for the time that I had a rabbit.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a good pet. I would get another one, but they're actually more maintenance than a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess if you don't feed the thing for a certain amount of time, it will just die immediately. It's not like a cat where you can leave out a bowl and it'll eat when it's hungry.
Really?
You can't go away for the weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta leave it with somebody.
So skunks are probably similar. Like you gotta
really take care of them.
Yeah.
And we know how you feel about the capybara. That's also on this list.
How do you feel about the capybara?
I don't feel anything about the capybara. I feel like
The capybara is like more upset than it would have been if you had said you hated it.
The part of me that has like the like instinctual pleasure response to seeing something cute or wanting to have a pet has no interaction with the capybara.
No, neither.
There's no response.
I'm actually revolted by it.
Yeah. And what about this? I don't even know how to say this. Serval. It's a cat. It's a large cat. Google it. Let's bring up an image. Serval.
Nothing beats the ocelot in my mind for.
Look at these things though.
Cat. Oh, whoa! Look at its ears.
They're so cool.
All right.
Look at that. It's a giant eared giant cat.
It looks like if you took a regular cat and in Photoshop you like circled just the ears and dragged them up.
Yeah, it does.
Like it looks fake.
And it's spotted. It's like leopardy, right?
And I think that's the only reason I would want a cat that's not like a domestic cat is to have the natural spotting or like striping.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Big cats get.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I know they exist and I know they're expensive, but I don't know why we haven't just bred small cats that look like this.
Well, I'm sure they exist.
Like, look at its ringtail. That's really cool.
That's cool. But here's the thing. Okay, so we want to breed to have the thing that's really cool. That's a little fucked up.
Do you still want it after this photo?
Look, it's so
Baring
mean.
its teeth.
It supposedly has like a very high, like one of the highest wild cat success hunting rates.
They're going to say calls.
It kills the most percentage of the things that it hunts.
Wow.
I read somewhere, which again is internet knowledge.
And it's legal.
And it's legal in some states.
One.
A serval cat. Okay, so the other thing about it is that it looks like, like some people. I had a teacher in undergrad, and she said that she used to talk with her friends and play this game that seemed kind of stupid to me, but it's called Little Head or Big Head, and all people either have a little head or a big head compared to their body, and most people don't have a normal one, and these cats look like a little head person. Like when a person has like a big body and a tiny head, that's what these cats look like.
I also just Googled little head, big head, like to see if there was a game. There isn't.
There isn't. This is just my teacher in undergrad.
So that's pretty good. That's creative.
Yeah. All right.
So now that we're still on legal pets, I want to take you down a different rabbit hole, mouse hole, fox hole, pet clothes.
Oh dear God.
People do it. I just have hashtag pets.
Yep.
Up on Twitter right now.
Okay.
One of the first things is the most adorable bunny wearing.
Oh, it is really adorable.
A fucking terrible t-shirt.
It looks
like wearing
cruel.
a t-shirt. It looks like it's hurting it.
Too small. That's like when I put on a size small. That's what I think I look like. I try to do it sometimes because I'm like,
We'll try to put links to these things in the descriptions and in the YouTube slides because this is interesting.
It's sad. This is like an extension of the ownership thing. Like this is an extension of the idea that we think we know what they like. We think that we see pleasure in their face. You don't know.
You know those self-help quizzes that there's like one answer that if you say yes, they're like, doesn't matter. It nullifies all your other responses and like puts you like you failed this test.
Give an example.
Go to the doctor. I'm trying to think of like, do you like, I don't know, like losing? Do you have anger problems? Right. And there's one of them. It's like, do you ever like fucking beat on people when you're mad? And it's like, if you say yes, it doesn't matter if you are calm in if you said no to every other question.
Right.
It's the extreme question
yes, you
that
have anger
overqualifies you to be like, get your ass to the fucking doctor.
I'm sure there's a term for that kind of question.
Right. Yeah.
I wish I knew it.
That should be on the pet quiz. And it should be like, will you ever dress your pet up in clothes? And if you say yes, then you automatically don't get your license. It's like, you don't even get to finish the rest of the test. You're like, fuck, I wish I could try that again.
Then we would have never had kitten mittens.
Kitten mittens.
Remember Kitten Mittens? That short video with Charlie Day where he puts mittens on a cat's feet and makes it walk on a table and it's just having a hard time.
Yeah.
It's I've seen
there's all kinds of, dogs with little booties on them too.
Yeah.
They can't
They have a hard time.
Traction. They skid out.
It's cruelty.
The only time I do support boots on animals is when you live... I'm only okay with it when you're walking, like if you're walking your dog in Arizona, like you should put something on that dog's feet. Or like wet the pavement or something.
Oh, because it's not used to that
Burns.
climate. Its feet aren't good for that.
The blacktop
heat.
probably gets
Yeah.
125, 140, 50 degrees. You literally
Totally.
could probably fry an egg on it. You're going to just take your dog out for a walk like it's no big deal.
Probably could.
You shouldn't be allowed to have a dog in Arizona.
All right, so of the weirder legal pets, which is the one on this list that you would want? Oh, a hedgehog is also on this
A
list.
hedgehog?
Let's look at some hedgehog pictures.
Yeah.
Because you have the mental image of a hedgehog.
It's all going to be
all do.
It's all going to be pictures of Sonic.
No, it's not. It's not. It's going to be adorable little hedgehogs.
Also,
Look
can
at
we
that.
talk about how like an anthropomorphic hedgehog ended up blue like Sonic and ran really fast?
How?
Like I don't know who
Look
came
at
up
these
with that.
things.
And it obviously was like Sega's big thing.
Yeah.
It passed so many quality checks.
It's true.
But these hedgehogs are cute. They come up in a little ball. They fit right in the palm of your hand.
It's like one of my, if I were to buy a pet for cuteness, I think this is the cat. I mean, the pet, sorry.
What if you look at it
This
when
is
it's
the pet.
mad, though? I mean, like, it looks like it can be pretty ugly if it's pissed off. Look at it.
Yeah, you don't want to piss off anything, really. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. It seems like it might go into... Are they spiny?
yeah, a little bit.
Like, does it hurt, or is it just like is it a quill, or is it...
It's a defense
like
mechanism, so it can cause pain, but
Can they
all
launch-
these people are holding them.
Can they launch their spikes?
I don't think so.
Like,
I don't
at
know,
you?
actually. I have
If
no
you're, like,
idea.
really close to it? Because I wouldn't want it if it could, like, hit me while I'm in bed. Like,
Let's
if I hadn't
figure it out.
fed it yet.
Can they launch? Can hedgehogs attack? When hedgehogs attack?
Neither hedgehogs nor porcupines can shoot their pricks.
Well, phrasing.
Thank you, Cora.
Thanks, Quora.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thanks for that. We're not going to go there. Yeah, okay, so no, they can't shoot their pricks, so they are unable to attack.
They cannot shoot their pricks, and for that reason, I could take a hedgehog.
I'm down with the hedgehog.
Yeah, I think I vote for hedgehog.
All right.
It's cute.
Walnut Desk
I don't want a
Podcast, official cutest pet of all time on the Walnut Desk Podcast is a hedgehog.
The hedgehog.
Done.
What about the pet rock?
That's not real.
It's very real.
The pet rock.
Yeah. I wonder if they have like new models.
But people project on them the same way they do with regular pets, right? I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. Why were they a craze?
You know what's
Why is
funny?
anything a craze?
You know what's really funny? Can I find a place to buy an official pet rock? Like,
Sure
was that
you
a
can.
bit? It's only $19.95 plus shipping.
What the fuck?
It comes in a crate. I wonder
It
if
comes
you
in
have
a
to-
crate?
I wonder if you have to pry it open with a
Yeah,
crowbar.
with a little crowbar. They send you a little crowbar, you pry it out.
But look at that
Your
rock.
wild rock
it's
is
pretty
free.
nice. You don't have to spay or neuter it, according to the website. It's pre-trained to sit and stay, and it's great for the holidays. Look at it. It's a round, smooth. It's almost like they dropped it in the ocean for 15,000 years.
I thought somehow in my head the pet rock had like a little face drawn on it, and this is just a plain old rock.
Yeah, this is stupid. So we're gonna sell our own,
Yep.
and they're gonna be better, and
Yep.
they're gonna come in at a significantly better price point at $18.95.
No, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna create the Walnut Desk pet rock, and it's gonna be the subscriber bonus. We're gonna create like 20, and the first 20 people to like, if you rate us on iTunes, listeners, with a 5-star rating and a description, you send us a Twitter message or send us an email, info@walnutdeskpodcast.com. We will mail you
You're
a
very
Walnut Desk pet rock.
Official.
We're gonna make you one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll train it to sit and stay, just like this website.
Sit and
We're
stay.
also not going to call it a pet rock. We're going to call it a pet stone or something, so that
Stoned
we don't
pets.
get, so we don't get sued.
Yep.
And I think that'll be good. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a great pet.
It's a great pet.
We didn't do any
it
prep
doesn't
on this,
whine.
but
You don't have to feed it.
no.
Yeah.
But it's a good. I mean, at the end of as this episode winds down, I think the pet rock is where this episode has been working towards this entire time, because it solves all of our problems that we have about pet ownership.
The pet rock is the solution to all of the problems.
You don't need to pass a test.
Nope.
You can project whatever emotion onto it with a marker. Mm-hmm. You don't have to watch it if you go away for a weekend.
You can bring it with you.
When it becomes feral,
Yep.
doesn't even matter.
It just sits on
It's
a
just
beach.
yeah.
Bring it to the beach. Let it go.
It gets smooth.
Gets smoother. So, all right. So you heard it here first. Walnut Desk Podcast. Review us on iTunes with a 5-star rating and let us know, and we will send you a Walnut Desk official pet stone.
Also, don't forget, if you're an iTunes subscriber, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. We have a comment section over there, so if you want to interact or share your thoughts on anything that we've talked about on this or any of our past episodes, that's the place to do it. Our videos for the podcast come out a week after the podcast launches on iTunes, so you have time to listen to it, think about it, and when you see the video pop up, you'll have marinated on those thoughts for long enough.
And you'll get these nice little slides that Will makes that are fucking hilarious. You'll get some visuals. You should actually watch it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and if you subscribe, it'll kind of become a part of your YouTube ecosystem, and you'll get a little Walnut Desk fix every time you log in.
Also, we just found out, we got an email that said that if you have Alexa, which Will has, which might go off in the background now that I'm saying it, you can ask Alexa to play the Walnut Desk podcast. And it will just happen. Hey, Alexa, will you play the Walnut Desk podcast?
Here's a station you might like. Father John Misty.
No! I fucking hate Father John Misty! Go to hell, Father John Misty!
Alexa, stop!
Okay, well, that's all we have on... Okay, so that's all we have on pets for today. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to rate us. We are on every channel you could find. I'm Ryan.
I'm Will.
See you next time.